Well, an area World War II veteran is remembering his service nearly 80 years later. Philip White, an Army Air Force veteran, says he first enlisted to serve alongside his brother in 1941 after the United States was attacked in Pearl Harbor. A radio operator and gunner on a Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress, he says his proudest moment of service was helping feed the starving in a German-occupied Holland, part of Operation Chowhound.
When you're flying a B-17 at treetop height, it gives you a little bit of you change the color in your pants. Okay.
Pretty hairy, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's part of it. And you're throwing food out, and you're standing in an open bomb bay. The plane is at low altitude and all over the sky because it's airflow. And you got planes all around you doing the same damn thing.
He said it wasn't until the 1990s when he felt validated and forgiveness for his actions during the war.
I was walking in Hilton Head one day on the beach. I came to a guy and we talked to me and said hello in broken English, and I said, "You're not from around here." He says, "No, I'm from Amsterdam." I said, "Oh, I know Amsterdam." He says, "How do you know Amsterdam?" I said, "We dropped food for you guys." He said, "You were one of those?"
Wow.
He says, "I was standing on the top of a building watching you fly in and dropping all the food. I couldn't believe you guys didn't crash into each other, but you saved our lives." I had to sit down because something came over me, and I felt a hand on my shoulder, and it felt like the Lord was saying to me, "Phil, I'm forgiving you for your sins because of stopping, instead of bombs, you're dropping food and saving people." I felt that.
White also recalled losing his brother after his plane was shot down over the Himalayan mountains.
Radio contact over the Himalayas is horrible because of the mountains, so they lost their way and ran out of fuel and crashed. We found out, but it was many years later until they found the bodies.
Now, Dakota, today, White hopes all Americans can come together and remember and honor those who have served. He says he's very grateful for his freedoms here in the United States and honored to have been one of the many who served in World War II.
Absolutely fantastic. And I just got to say, that was a fantastic interview, Justin. That was fantastic. He did a great job on that. And I mean, hearing him tell stories about, his time in the service is fantastic. And, I've mentioned before about how my grandfather served in World War II. World War II, he was in the 777th Tank Division as a sharpshooter. Unfortunately, he passed away long before I came around. But I just wish I would have had that time. Now, apparently from what my dad said, he never used to really like to talk about the war too much.
Yeah.
And, in a way, I can understand that. But, just to think of all the things that my grandfather's seen in World War II that maybe a lot of the people in the family might not have ever known.
And it
makes you wonder.
Yeah, and one of the big reasons why he reached out to us, and he didn't directly reach out to WNY News Now because in his 90s, he's not that technically savvy.
Right.
He doesn't have internet at his house. However, through the help of his son and a number of community organizations, they saw online that he wanted to tell his story and gave us a call on Friday of last week and said, "I know this is such short notice for Veterans Day, but is there a way you can send someone over to interview him?" And, the answer was immediately yes. It was a pleasure to have him and his wife invite us into their home and sit down with him and talk to him. And I mean, we talked for, about an hour and a half or so and condensed it into this piece. But it really was amazing, and I want to thank him for his service. And, it's an absolute pleasure and a privilege for us to be able to have this and document this forever. I mean, this video will never go away. This broadcast will never go away. In another 100 years, people can be watching this and can hear from him and in his service and such a crucial mission to World War II and helping the humanitarian side of the war in helping the group there who were being starved by the Nazis who invaded their country. So it really is amazing, and just want to thank him and everyone on this Veterans Day for allowing us to cover that. Wendy says, beautiful, absolutely amazing. She said she's got goosebumps from hearing this. Pam says she certainly loves this guy, and certainly I know a lot of people do. He says currently he has a lot of girlfriends in the local community, one of which being Susan Raleigh, who is the president of the Blue Star Mothers. She does a lot within the local military community, within their family group.
It's just what we always say, age is just a number, right?
Right, exactly. So he's got a lot of honeys, so I appreciate you all so much. Cindy's absolutely awesome and amazing, and thank you for sharing your story. You're absolutely